You
can stop. It's over now.
This is your boy G, and this is the 16th episode of the EBS podcast. In front of me is my sister. Introduce yourself.
What up, everybody? How you doing? It's Lindsay. You already know who it is. Glad to be here. Glad y'all are here. Let's get to talking. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, man. So as I said, this is the 16th episode of the Educated Black Siblings
is it really
podcast.
16?
It's been 16 episodes.
That's a lot of fortnights.
That is quite a few fortnights.
Literally all the fortnights.
That is a few fortnights.
Wait, no. Isn't 16 times 2 32? How many weeks are in a year? 52? We're close. We're getting there.
Close. We're close to the year anniversary. We'll have to do something special for the year anniversary. But
fancy.
I just want to give a shout out to all of our folks on social media. We appreciate y'all interacting with us. That is the point of the podcast. We've been seeing a lot of love on social media, a lot of interaction. So again, we appreciate that. But I want to continue to throw that fleece out, right? Because that is why we do the podcast. We want to have conversations with you guys. We want you guys to engage in the topics that we're talking about on the podcast, man. So again, I want to encourage you guys. You know that we're going to do a top 5 at the end of every episode.
What's our top 5 this week?
The top 5 this week is our top 5 albums since the year 2000 that are not hip hop, R&B, or soul. So basically, yeah, that. Yeah.
What we said.
So the reason that we're doing that is because me and Lindsay, we both listen to, hip hop, R&B primarily, right? Or at least I know I listen to hip hop and R&B primarily, but we have really eclectic taste in music, and I feel like
people don't know that.
We haven't really been able to showcase that a lot on the podcast yet, because we focus on hip hop and R&B because that's really what dominates our earwaves and the earwaves of just society in general. But we wanted to take a break from that this week and just share with you guys some albums that we really, really enjoy that are not hip hop and R&B.
Yeah, but back to what Gilbert was saying, just like our top 5, if you want to reach out to us, follow us on Twitter and or Instagram at the EBS podcast. And talk to us, communicate with us. I know last week, shout out to @DVanglorious on Twitter, tweeted at me about our top 5, which was the top movie villains or whatever. And he mentioned that Pennywise from It in my list was trash because It was a trash movie. And I just would like to say, Glorious. I did not say that it was a good movie at all, but you can't tell me that Pennywise wasn't at least a little bit menacing. Like that first scene where he snatches up homeboy in the gutter. I mean, that still sends me chills. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but nah, Pennywise is still on that list because he's creepy. If you can take Pennywise in a fight, let me know. But until then,
he can't. He probably can't.
Well, there it is. So Pennywise is still terrifying to me. But yeah, shout out at us. Let us know how y'all feel, and we'll hit y'all back.
Yeah, and then just one more housekeeping item. When you guys shout us out on social media, give us some ideas for top 5s. If you give us a top 5 list, I can't guarantee that we'll do it on a podcast episode, but we will reply at minimum with our top 5 on whatever medium it is that you send us. So if you tweet us and ask us what our top 5 whatever is, we'll at least make an effort to reply to that on Twitter, and we may do it in an episode. So anyway, let's get into it. There was quite a few things that happened this week, but outside of that, this is a special weekend for some people, right?
It is
St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day weekend. Yeah. I don't even know what that means, man.
St. Patrick's Day?
Okay, I know what Patty's Day means, but like, what is that a celebration of?
St. Patrick?
Who's St. Patrick?
Some saint.
Shout out to
some Saint
Patrick.
I think he ran off like all the snakes in Ireland.
All the Irish snakes?
I legit think this.
I've never in my life heard that.
I don't celebrate St. Patrick's
I don't know.
Day.
I just know people wear
It's
green.
Not my culture.
They wear green and drink beer. It's not your culture. So is it cultural appropriation if I have multiple green drinks tomorrow?
I mean, I think maybe. But no, I guess you're paying homage to Irish culture. So
I'm not paying homage. I just want an excuse. Listen. This is going to be the only time I'm going to condone cultural appropriation. I'm just going to wear green and drink green drinks tomorrow. And There it is.
You know what I'm doing tomorrow?
Tell me what you're doing.
Eating crawfish.
Bet. Me too.
Like,
Let's talk about it.
I really enjoy crawfish, so I'm boiling some crawfish tomorrow. I don't know why I enjoy crawfish. Crawfish is one of the most frustrating foods on the face of the planet. Like, you go through so much work to get the meat out of the crawfish, and then it's a tiny amount of meat, and you enjoy it for about 25 seconds, and then you have to go to work over again.
So let's talk about this real quick. So Gilbert and I, our entire family is from New Orleans, Louisiana. So we grew up like eating crawfish from a young age. And I remember being like 3. This is one of my earliest memories. And we're sitting at a huge, long dining table. And there was like friends and family and cousins and stuff at the table. Newspaper all on the table. And they just poured pounds and pounds of crawfish on the table. And I will never forget, my dad looked at me and said, "I'm going to show you how to do one." And then that's it. and daddy literally opened up the crawfish. He like did it and was like, "All right, go for it." And I had to learn, and I struggled as he ate.
Bruh, how you're taught survival of the fittest is at the crawfish table.
Literally,
because if you don't get yours,
you get left behind.
You're not going. Crawfish is so frustrating. You have to eat literally pounds of crawfish
for it to be worth it.
For it to be worth it.
Oh my gosh.
But it's always worth it.
Listen, shout out to anybody that's not Cajun or has Cajun family or doesn't do crawfish. Do not go to a restaurant and buy you a plate of crawfish. That is a waste of money. Don't let them cheat you.
It depends on the restaurant, but I'm with you.
A plate of crawfish, Gilbert?
You're right.
A plate?
What's that?
What am I supposed to do with 7 crawfish?
Well, if
stack them up?
I'm not even showing up. I'm not even showing up for less than 3 pounds of crawfish.
Let's be real.
Like,
how many pounds we got coming tomorrow?
Man,
all the pounds.
Got about 60 pounds, bro. It's just 2 of us, bro.
For 2 people. It's fine.
Anyway, that's what I'm doing for St. Patty's Day. I'm eating crawfish, but
are the crawfish gonna be green?
Nah, bro.
We should have thought about that.
But you know what is green?
What?
All this money the Obamas are about to make if they sign this Netflix deal.
They signed this what?
Netflix
The Obamas
deal.
coming out with a show?
Man, I don't know. So I see this thing come across the feed. It says that former President Barack Obama may be teaming up with Netflix for a number of original shows. So this was in the New York Times. So I was searching the internet. I didn't see a lot of details on it.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a rumor that they're going to be doing some sort of production deal with Netflix. That could be kind of dope.
Like both Barack and Michelle?
Yeah, it said the Obamas. So
I I know this isn't the way that they're going with it, but if they had like, you know how they used to have Little Bill?
Yeah.
If they had a little Barack.
Shut up.
Like, listen, hold on, go with me. If they had a little Barack of like baby black Barack like running around the streets of Chicago, I would watch the heck out of that show.
But not baby white Barack?
Nah.
I mean, because he is half.
Dang, he sure is. My bad.
I'm just saying.
I apologize to the other half Barack. But you wouldn't watch little baby Barack?
I would watch anything that the Obamas did.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be there for whatever it is.
Like Larry King has a show. I forget the name of the show, but it's on Netflix. And it, is it Larry King?
Is Larry King still alive?
Is it Larry King or David Letterman? That's how much I don't care about the guy whose show it is. But he did an interview with Obama on Netflix. And I was like, I would watch just that.
I love just hearing Obama talk. But can we, real quick, so there's been a couple of them. Like I know Joe McHale just did this. And is her name Chelsea lately? Chelsea something. There's multiple people that are doing this thing like John Oliver.
Chelsea Handler.
Handler, there you go. Where they have, I think the name of the show is Chelsea Lately.
Yeah.
They have like a weekly Netflix show.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that. I'm not doing that. Like I haven't been interested enough to watch that. But like if Obama had a weekly like political show, I'll watch the heck out of that.
That'd be dope.
Do it, Barack.
Yeah.
I'm there for it.
I'm there for it as well.
Did you look at his bracket that he posted?
No, I haven't looked at it yet.
I'm just glad that he's still accessible.
Yeah.
We miss you, Barack. Please come back. I mean, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, you tell him to come back, but I hate to say it.
But
Trump is kind of doing a good job at like one thing.
What?
Making me laugh.
Okay. I got panicked for a second.
So Trump announces that he's running for re-election.
Okay, well, we knew that.
And he goes, he's at a rally, right? And he goes,
is he still having rallies?
He's still having rallies. So he's at a rally and he says, we have to have a new slogan for when we run in 20. Can you believe in 2 years we're gonna be rerunning?
Okay, baby hands.
But we can't say Make America Great Again. Why? Because I already did that.
Okay.
I already did that.
Where?
Like,
Show me, Donald.
that's a direct quote, right? But his new slogan is going to be "Keep America Great,"
I'm not doing this.
or CAG for short.
What'd you say to me?
CAG.
CAG?
With the initials.
Absolutely not.
KAG.
I will not. No. N-O.
But here's where it gets funny. You know what shares the slogan "Keep America Great"?
No.
There's a movie called The Purge.
Oh my God.
Election Year.
Oh my God.
And the subtitle,
Oh my
the
God.
subtext, when you look at the cover for the movie, it's got a picture of an Uncle Sam with a weapon, and it says "The Purge Election Year. Keep America Great."
I forgot. I saw this movie in theaters and forgot about that till this moment.
Yes.
I'm not there for it.
So Trump is hilarious. He also appears to be, strangely enough, making some sort of progress with North Korea.
But is this meeting gonna happen? Let's talk about that.
I don't know, but like apparently North Korea has agreed to sit down with Trump.
Okay.
Trump then immediately fired his Secretary of State.
Oh my God.
Which is a weird thing to do if you're gonna go interact with another country. And then he hired the former director of the CIA, which is interesting, but it's neither here nor there. It's actually both here and there.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's both of those things. He also, Loki, I don't know if you know this, like 2 hours ago, he fired the deputy director of the FBI. Is his name Andrew McCabe or McCabe?
No, I didn't know that.
So he fired him after 22 years. But here's the thing: Andrew was scheduled to retire on Sunday,
Bro, that's cold.
and they fired him 2 days before his retirement kicked in.
Does he still get his pension?
That's what I'm saying. That's what people are going in on Twitter right now because they're like, "Yo, you couldn't just let him ride it out till Sunday."
Yeah, that's kind of trash, bro. That's low-key kind of trash.
But that's what. How many people have been fired from the Trump cabinet and/or administration since?
We need to get that stat.
We also need to get the stat of like past presidents.
We need an intern.
We need an EBS intern.
Yeah.
Go ahead, people in podcast land, send us your resumes if you would like to be an EBS intern. But the resumes have to be funny.
Yo, I just realized that we're gonna get a whole nother round of presidential debates with Donald Trump.
Let that sink in for a moment. Is that what we need?
Yo, I want to talk about Black Panther, bro.
Okay.
I thought that I was ready to talk about Trump again, but I'm just not.
Distinct? No, I'm not doing that today.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it this week.
I'm just not. So
How many times did you see Black Panther?
How many times did I see Black Panther?
Yes.
Legally or illegally?
I'm not doing this with you.
Okay.
Total.
I saw it twice.
Okay. I saw Black Panther 3 times. Yeah. Once in IMAX. That was the 3rd time, and it was fantastic.
I saw it once in the theater, once on my cell phone.
I'm not going to ask any questions. I don't know who produced that movie, but you can go ahead and get him. Don't send me no emails.
So Black Panther crossed the $1 billion mark, man.
Yeah, it did. And who's surprised? Not me.
So, like, a lot of people were celebrating that monument, that marker, right? And I'm just curious, like, what? I mean, I know that's a great success for a movie, but like, what does that mean for the culture? Does that mean anything for the culture, you think?
Yes. I mean, it definitely shows, and I've heard this from multiple people, it shows the strength. And I don't even want to say this, because like a lot of people have been saying it shows the strength of the black dollar and how much we put into, the economy and spending or whatever. But we also have to remember that this was a Marvel film.
Yeah.
So like it was going to do numbers regardless.
Yeah.
Now these type of numbers, I don't know. Like I said, I can't think of another movie. I think Get Out was the last movie I saw multiple times in the theater. You know what I mean? So I mean, clearly, like having a predominantly black cast definitely drove those numbers. But I don't know, man. But it definitely shows Hollywood, I think, that you can have a predominantly black cast and not have to worry about your movie being trash if it is a decent, good movie. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So to put it in perspective, the achievement, right? There are only 32 films total that have ever crossed the $1 billion mark.
32.
Gross.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah, but that's of
But
all
in comparison,
movies
that's a
ever
lot.
in life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, it's in rare air, right? So there are two other Marvel movies that have done it, and then after that, you're talking about Star Wars, Harry Potter, etc., right? So it's those types of movies. Something that's really interesting to me is, I know a lot of people are talking about the black dollar driving the Black Panther, but when I was looking at the stats, one of the interesting things was the diversity of the audience, right? So typically, African Americans or black people, we make up 15% of superhero movie audiences. So when you look at normal Marvel movies, about 15% of the viewership is black people.
Yeah.
For Black Panther, about twice that came out. So it was 37% of all the ticket sales for Black Panther were from black people, which is good. But when I looked at the numbers, 35% was Caucasian, 18% was Hispanic, right? So it's like that's pretty. It wasn't just black people going to see the movie. That's pretty diverse. Something that people thought was interesting is that the thirst for Michael B. Jordan was real, in that 45% of all of the people that went to go see this movie were female. Which y'all love y'all some Michael B. Jordan.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. I went to see the movie with a friend, and the third time, and during the challenge scene, well, I don't want to spoilers, but during the challenge scene, he was doing something and she was talking. I said, no, you wait till he's finished on the screen. Like, you will not interrupt him and what he is doing.
I can dig that.
And I was there for it.
We still need to get into our deep dive of the film itself.
Of Black Panther?
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Maybe not tonight.
Definitely not tonight.
Definitely not tonight.
But
we
another
need to get
night.
into that. So I have a question. Well, anything else on the fact that it crossed the $1 billion mark? Again, I think that that's awesome. I think that hopefully that shows studios that almost all black cast can actually hold its weight at the box office. So this, especially when you see the success of Get Out, it just won those awards.
And that's what I was about to say. Just shout outs to Ryan Coogler and Jordan Peele. I'm excited for what young black talent, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, are doing. And I just hope that Ryan Coogler has already been he's put out amazing films, but just to see, hey, there's money behind it now. To see what they're going to be able to do because of how successful their films were, that's exciting to me.
And hey, Black Joy Police, that's what I'm calling you.
Oh, Lord.
The whole, hey, you went to go see Black Panther, but you didn't go see Wrinkle in Time. You must not love black people. Cut it out. Hey, cut it out.
Stop it.
First and foremost, Wrinkle in Time is a children's movie.
I'm not a child.
I'm not a child.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Tell me how to live my life.
Even though I do love Oprah.
Also, black is not in the title of A Wrinkle in Time. Okay?
If it was a black wrinkle? No, black people don't wrinkle.
We don't.
But if it was a wrinkle in black time?
If it was a wrinkle in black time, that'd be the latest movie ever.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Every theater, the showtime would be at 7, but the movie doesn't start till 9.
Nobody's talking about the fact that Black Panther was late. Y'all remember
they pushed that mug back.
Supposed to come out in January.
It was late. Wasn't it late like a whole year? Was it supposed to come out?
I'm just saying. But Black Joy Police, chill.
A Wrinkle in Black Time.
A Wrinkle in Black Time.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna watch A Wrinkle in Time when it comes to video. Okay.
Dang.
I'm just saying.
Do you remember when that was a big deal when movies came to video?
It was. Remember going to Blockbuster?
Yo,
son?
listen, Blockbuster in our house on Friday nights, that was the stuff. Like the stuff. I remember I used to be excited for report cards. Did Mom do that with you?
Yeah.
The report cards, for however many A's you got to rent a game for longer than the 5 days. I was like, bet, let's go.
And then when they had that joint where you could go to the dollar movie section.
Yeah.
And you just load up on movies.
All the movies.
That was lit.
I don't know, man.
They're closing down all the Toys R Us's.
I saw that. Somebody tweeted and they were like, Toys Were Us. And I was like, oh, that made me sad.
That's trash.
I thought people were still going to Toys R Us though.
For why?
I was going to ask you, so you've got a kid. Have you been to Toys R Us since you've had your child?
Amazon.
Fair.
Yes.
Mom the other day was like, I just bought a charger. And she's like, it was super expensive. I was like, where'd you buy it from? Best Buy. I said, well, that's mistake 1, 2, and 3, Mom.
Are those still open?
Best Buys?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to close down?
I think all brick and mortar stores are going to close down.
Fair.
But
Fair.
it is what it is.
R.I.P. Circuit City.
Yeah. What was the other one?
Radio Shack.
Radio Shack.
Aww.
But back to Black Panther. I had I got kind of sidetracked there thinking
It's
about
fine.
Toys R Us. I had a question I wanted to ask you.
I'm here, boo.
So I know you really, really enjoy Black Panther. Do you like comic books in general?
I do.
So tell me if you've ever heard of a fella by the name of Red Lion.
Red Lion?
Yes.
No.
So I'm showing Lindsay a picture of a DC comic book character. His name is Red Lion. As you can see, he has a skin tight red leotard suit on. He's got claws. He's got the mane of a lion. And I'd like to let you know that he is the president of an African nation.
Okay.
But he dresses up as a red lion in this suit. It's made out of an indestructible material mined from his African country. Does it sound familiar at all? Or
I'm uncomfortable. What does that mean? Is that real?
yeah, this is DC's version of the Black Panther.
No. Wait, when was this released? Do you know?
Red Lion is relatively new. I think
Okay.
he's only been in 10 not
DC.
episodes, but 10 issues.
I feel so bad for DC.
But no, but in all fairness, Marvel and DC have been doing this for years. Like Fantastic Four was just a reply to the Justice League,
Yeah.
right? But what I found, so at first I was laughing at Red Lion because
I feel bad.
it is so just obviously a ripoff of Black Panther.
Yeah.
But I started to do more research on the character because it was interesting. So Red Lion is created by a man named Christopher Priest, who is a black comic book author.
Okay.
Right? Who also used to work for Marvel. Guess what? Guess what comic book he worked on?
Black Panther?
He worked on several comic books,
Okay.
but one of them was Black Panther.
So this is like his petty response to leaving.
Well, no, this is intentional, and it's I learned a new word.
Okay.
This word is called it's pastiche. A pastiche.
I'm sorry, what?
Pastiche.
I had pastiche for breakfast this
No,
morning.
you did not. A pastiche is an artistic work in a style that imitates another work or another artist, right? So Christopher Priest, he intentionally made a character that is paying homage to the Black Panther. So it's like when I read that, I was like, I mean, that's kind of weird because it's a different company or whatever, but I'm like, I mean, can I be mad at him for making another black superhero? Like, I'm not mad at having another black superhero.
I feel like that's like a very tight line that you have to walk
Yeah.
with the pastiche.
That's comic book appropriation.
I can't. I'm not doing this. But would you watch a Red Lion film? Let's be real.
I don't watch DC films anymore.
Oh, stop that. Did
Suicide Squad was really bad.
Suicide Squad was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And that made me sad because Will Smith, I feel like, actually tried.
he
in
was
that
trying
movie.
really hard.
Like, he tried to carry the movie and couldn't. Dang well.
But I don't know. Justice League came out
I heard Justice
on
League was trash.
DVD.
Too.
Is it really? Because I was gonna watch it this
My
weekend.
bad. Well, when you watch it, I haven't seen it either, but I heard that it was low-key trash.
All right. Well, then I may just need to just hold fast in my breakup from DC comic books.
What's the next DC movie coming out?
I don't know.
Did Aquaman come out?
I hope Aquaman never has a movie. Aquaman is the worst superhero of all time.
Okay.
What's his power? Go ahead. I'll wait. What's Aquaman's power? You don't even know. We don't know, Sway. What's his power?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah. So tell me more about the Aquaman movie.
So what else is going on, Gil?
Yeah, that's what I
didn't
thought.
know that you had such harsh feelings towards Aquaman.
Aquaman. So Janae and Big Sean are out here doing the most.
Let me tell you what I won't do. Listen here, Twitter. I'm so sick of you, Twitter. I'm going on a Twitter rant. It's fine. Y'all need to stop tweeting and getting things trending without doing your research. Black Twitter, all the Twitters. I'm sick of y'all. So literally, did you see this? Like, I pull up on Twitter and Big Sean's got like 300,000 tweets. I'm like, what the heck happened to Big Sean? Did he drop something or did he get shot? Those are the only two options, right? So literally everybody's going in because like, yo, Big Sean cheated on Janae. Oh my gosh, Big Sean's with the Pussycat doll. And I'm like, wait, what? There's no way. There's no way that he would cheat on her. And plus, this girl,
Which Pussycat doll?
the only Pussycat doll. Name me the Pussycat dolls, Gilbert.
It's just Nicole.
It's
Schwarzenegger.
just Nicole Schwarzenegger.
That's true.
That's it.
That's true.
Name me another. So, anyways, so apparently Big Sean was like photographed for her or something, and people just took that and ran with it
Right.
for hours. I need you to understand, like, we're talking like 7 hours.
I mean, but didn't Janae unfollow him though?
Yeah, and then somebody was like, "Oh, they unfollowed." Which, by the way, who was just checking that out? Like, who's just watching Instagram, just waiting for that, waiting for celebrities to unfollow each other, whatever. But they like took that and ran with it, and then later Janae tweeted something about you can't believe all the nonsense and fan fiction you hear. Big Sean retweeted it with clapping hands. It's like, wait, so what?
I mean, but that could also just be a petty admission of guilt.
I don't think so, though.
Janae can't leave Big Sean.
Because his face is on her arm.
Facts.
Which I don't understand. And it's like, I
You
already...
wouldn't get a tattoo of your man's face on your arm?
Absolutely not. Like, no.
That's fair.
No. Would you? Let's talk about it. Would you? What are you willing to get tattooed on your body?
A fleur-de-lis. That's about it.
Is that it? Not your wife's name? Not gonna get your wife's face tattooed on your body?
No.
Why not? You don't love her?
I mean, I love her, but
Oh,
I don't want faces on my body.
not faces? Not even bays?
That's weird.
That is weird. And y'all are married. Y'all have been in the game for a minute.
Yeah.
These fools have been dating for like a solid 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So
What is the social media etiquette for a breakup? So it's like, if I'm gonna break up with you, so like if I see a couple online and they unfollow each other, should I assume then that they are broken up? Is it possible that they just don't want to see each other's stuff online anymore?
I think that's weird. I think that's weird. I think that you can assume that they've probably ended their relationship. But what does that have to do with you? You know what I mean? So it's like people were like she unfollowed him and then went down this rabbit hole of things. But it's like, even if she unfollowed him for whatever reason, what does that, like, why does that entitle you to start making up rumors about their relationship?
That's true.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. Social media makes things so ridiculous and complicated for no reason now. Like, now you have to look into stuff like that. Like, if somebody unfollows you on Twitter, now it's like, whoa, did I do something? Did I say something wrong? Like, you have to actually read into the real life effects of that. And I think that's stupid.
You do. Like, being active on social media requires you to be able to, like, read between the lines on things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have time for reading. I'm just be honest. People don't like to read.
Fair.
And I can help you with that.
Go ahead.
Because this episode of the EBS
my
podcast
God.
is sponsored by Audible.
Smooth operator.
So Audible is an audiobook service. It's partnered with Amazon, right? So what you can do with Audible, you don't have to read it all. You can just listen to what you driving in a car, you working out, you can listen to whatever you want to listen to. Charlemagne the God's book on how to be black and excellent. I haven't read it, but I assume that's what it's about. Right? You want to read Kevin Hart's book about... Never mind. I'm not going to make that joke.
We don't need it.
But anyway, so if you go to audibletrial.com/EBS podcast, you can get a free 30-day trial. Check this out. Here's the kicker.
What's the kicker?
Here's the kicker. They're going to give you a free book.
Say what?
That you can keep forever.
Bruh.
You can sign up, decide that you don't want to do Audible, cancel it, and you'll always have that audiobook forever. You can keep it, listen to it whenever you want to. So look, you can go out, support the podcast, that book that you've been waiting to listen to, go get it for free. You can listen to it for as long as you want to, and then cancel the service if you need to. But Audible is a dope service. Me and my sister both have it. We listen to audiobooks. It's a great way to consume books. But go to audibletrial.com/EBS podcast.
And like Gilbert said, we both have Audible. So they sent me an email today because my free trial ran out and I was using our free trial. But my free trial ran out, so I have to pay for it now. But literally they send you free credits through Audible, like for a free book every month. So listeners, if y'all get the Audible free trial, let me know what book you're going to read. I will use one of my credits on your book. I will listen to it with you. and then we can shout out and like talk about it on Twitter and or the podcast.
Yeah, that's
So
dope.
just let me know.
That's dope. So one other thing that was going on kind of in the political-esque world, Vladimir Putin is running for president of Russia, which is kind of a farce.
Quote unquote running.
Even if he lost, he'd still win. But he had his version of a rally the other day, and he was throwing out all of this great stuff that Russia is going to do, and one of those things was that they are going to beat us in the space race. So Russia has announced that they're going to send another manned mission to the moon.
Okay.
And his goal is to do that before the end of 2019. And he's also said that he's going to send his own unmanned mission to Mars by the end of 2019. And I haven't talked about this much on the podcast, but space is something that I'm really, really interested in. So this is exciting to me, right?
Okay.
Especially with the guy in office that we have, because all that Trump heard was that Russia said that they're going to beat the United States at something. And I know that we like to make fun of Trump, but there's one thing that Trump doesn't like, and that's losing. So I'm really, really hoping that maybe this will spur him to be like, yo, we need to put more money into NASA because we can't let Russia beat us to Mars.
Fair.
Like, because he doesn't like losing at anything.
Fair.
So that would be dope to me. How do you feel about the whole space thing? So again, he wants to put more people on the moon. Specifically, he wants to land a group at the poles of the moon so that they can try to mine for water. He believes, and most of the
moon.
Yeah, and most of the space community believes that setting up some sort of installations on the moon would be a great stepping stone to deeper space exploration or whatever. But how do you feel about space?
How do I feel about space?
How do you feel about space?
Well, personally, I'm terrified of space.
Word.
I hate you. But I like the idea. I think that there's definitely benefits to us exploring and venturing out and learning about space and potential living situations and technology that is provided through space, tech or whatever. But I'm down to beating Russia. I'm down for that. I'm down for speeding up our timetables.
I mean, Elon Musk is probably on Mars already.
Didn't he just launch 17 missiles the other day?
It is what it is. Elon Musk is the real life Iron Man. He is.
What? Hold on.
Inspiring.
He did you see that the other day? He was talking about what's it called? What are those things? Trains. He had a different train system that he was gonna do. Or something. I don't know. Anything that he releases, I'm there for. And I'm not even techie like that. But I appreciate his genius. I'm there for it. How is he allowed to do the things that he does?
He's rich.
Fair. I can't just launch my own rocket from the backyard.
Nah, he's rich. So
Fair.
He can do things like that. But he's got a company called SpaceX, and they do all sorts of cool stuff, man.
I had a friend that worked for SpaceX.
For real?
And he couldn't tell us nothing about
Oh,
it.
man, that's lit.
But he did. Shout outs to the engineers.
Does he still work for SpaceX? Or?
No, it was an internship thing.
Dope.
But he loved it, but literally couldn't tell us anything that was happening inside. So
That's what's up.
It's cool.
I can dig that. I don't know that I would want to live on another planet, but actually, I don't think that colonization. I don't know if that's going to come in our lifetime.
Okay.
But I do definitely think that we're going to I think we're going to put people on Mars in the next 10 years for sure.
Regular people or just
No, I think we're going to send a manned mission to Mars in the next 10 years for sure.
So that's interesting. So I started watching this series on Netflix called The 100, which I know came out a couple years ago. They're just starting season 5. But the whole premise of The 100 was that there are people in space that are living on a space station because we had nuclear war or whatever, and now they're sending people back to Earth, 100 people, to see if it's inhabitable or whatever. That's neither here nor there, but it made me think in my head, not even just Mars, but would I be willing to live in a space station? And the answer to that is no.
I'm with you. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong.
Just no. There's too many variables. And I understand that we are literally killing the planet, but I'd rather be here on this dying planet that I know than be up in space with question marks.
You don't want to be on the run from Earth.
No, but I support what's happening here. On the run from Earth. Okay, go.
I like how it took you a second.
No, because as I was talking, I heard it. And I was like, I don't want this to be the segue that he's using, but go for it.
So tell me, Lindsay, if you don't want to be on the run from Earth,
I hate you. I hate you so much.
what is it that you would like to be on the run from? Take it away.
So, Jay-Z and Beyonce just announced that they're going on tour, y'all. I hate you with my whole heart. I hate you so much. But I told y'all that Jay-Z and Beyonce were going to announce something because she's about to perform at Coachella. But
you did say that.
I told y'all. But they're going on tour. Are you excited about this?
No.
So I'm gonna say this, and Beehive, please don't come for me. But because I'm in it, I'm here. I'm literally drinking out of my Beehive cup right now. Gilbert can attest to this.
She is drinking
like
out
a
of
full
Beehive
Beehive cup.
That's true.
I'm not excited for this tour. Okay, Beyonce hasn't released any new music yet. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, regardless of what he did to, like, infidelity-wise. Like, I still, like, I'm there for Jay-Z, and I love 444. But she hasn't dropped anything yet. And it's like, B, I get it. You popped out them kids. That's cool. But you need to drop some music. I love you. But you just toured Formation. You just toured Lemonade, and I don't need that anymore. So I think that either she's going to drop something in the next month or they're going to drop that joint album that they've been talking about. But if she does not, if I listen and I hear chirps and crickets in the wind, I'm not spending $1 million to go see you, Beyonce. I've done it before. I've done it a million times, and I love you. And they may take away my Beehive cup. They may take away my membership. And I'm okay with that because I'm a grown woman. But I think if Beyonce doesn't drop something, if she doesn't drop any music, I'm not shelling out money for this ticket. That's how I feel. But I'm pleasantly pleased with the fact that they're going on tour. I'm there for it.
But I think it's probably safe to assume that they have some sort of new music coming, right? I mean, because they wouldn't just tour just to tour.
I was like, because they've already, like, I went and saw On the Run. Like, they've done this before. But I don't know. Like, she may just be using the buzz of Coachella, but Beyonce's way too smart for that. So I feel like there's new music coming from either one or both of them. But until it arrives, I'm not getting excited for this tour.
I can dig it. But Beyonce is the master of marketing things. So again, I'm with you. I don't think that she would tour off of old material. So I think something is probably coming.
And I'm there for it. Coachella's in 4 weeks or something like that. It's sometime in April. So I will be patiently waiting. Twitter will be open at all times, and I'm here for you, B. But until then, I'm not purchasing a ticket.
So speaking of new music, though, a lot of new stuff is dropping and/or is about to drop,
and a lot of tours are happening this year.
And
My
a lot
God,
of tours are happening this year. So Logic dropped a new album.
He did. Did you listen to it?
No.
Okay.
I will listen to it eventually. I'm not a Logic fan. You know this about me.
I know.
I listened to the 44 More song.
What'd you think?
He was spitting. I'm a big hip hop fan. I'm a fan of the bars, of the lyrics. Logic can rap. I'm just not. I don't dislike Logic. I just don't like Logic.
You're neutral towards Logic.
Yeah, I'm neutral to like I listen to when I listen to Logic, I say, yo, that young man can rap. I'm just not.
I think one thing, and you and I have talked about this before off air, one criticism about Logic was that he didn't have a sound yet. Like, it sounded like he was mimicking multiple different other rappers.
Yeah.
But I think now, like, the more that he puts out, the more in my head I'm like, okay, this sounds like a Logic song.
Yeah.
To me, I feel that. I just don't know if I'm into what Logic sounds like. It sounds terrible. But I mean, I listened to the majority of the album. I haven't finished yet. But I like Logic. I think he's cool. I like his YouTube channel. You should check it out. But
So I'm gonna reserve judgment on Logic until I listen to a new album. I will listen to it. I'll probably listen to it this week, so I can I'll give my star review on the next episode.
Bet.
Also, Wale dropped a new EP. You laughing at Wale, bro?
Wale be wildin'. When is he gonna go on the Breakfast Club? I'm there for it.
I'm with you.
I need another one.
I haven't listened to the Wale either, so I probably shouldn't have brought it up. I'll rate that. I'm gonna rate the new Logic album and the new Wale album and the new Snoop Dogg gospel album.
Before we get to Snoop Dogg, did we talk about this last week? You know Wale was in Black Panther, right?
No.
So The first night, the opening night of Black Panther, like I went to go see it, and my friend, there's a scene where T'Challa at the very beginning, where he's walking through Wakanda, like right after he's made king, and he's going to meet Lupita on the stairs, but they start showing like little snippets of people in like the marketplace, and they just show a random man for like 2 seconds that's dancing with a stick. My friend leans over and she's like, Lindsay, I think that's Wale. I said, girl, shut up. Right? Even though it looked like Wale. The second time I saw it, I knew it was coming, and I looked. I was like, he really looks like Wale, but there's no way. BuzzFeed released an article 2 weeks ago that was like 40 things you didn't recognize in Black Panther. And one of those things was that Wale makes a cameo in Black Panther. He's in there dancing with a random stick for like 5 seconds in Black Panther. So shout out to Wale. Proud of you.
I'm going to listen to the Wale EP. I've heard good things about it, so we'll see what happens.
If not, your acting career will take off.
And again, we're going to get to the top 5 here in a moment, but I have a question for you, right?
For me?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So, again, I'm anticipating a lot of albums coming this year.
Okay.
Which album are you anticipating the most out of Drake, Kanye, Cardi B, and Ray Shrimmer?
You want me to like order them?
No, I want to know which one are you checking for the most?
Kanye West is my favorite rapper, so anything that Kanye West does, I will. Like, that's at the top of my list.
So there were rumors, like, the internet is crazy with their investigative skills.
That's what we do.
Like,
sleuthing.
They were showing, who was it? Who's the guy? I guess it's Travis Scott that writes for him sometimes, and Kid Cudi, and a bunch of producers. So they weren't showing pictures of them together, but people were like, yo, I think Kid Cudi was at this gas station in this mountain town. Kanye's in this same mountain town. They must be recording an album together.
Y'all need to chill out. What if Cudi was just trying to get some pork rinds?
True.
Pork rinds, Three Musketeers, and some Gatorade.
But it's the same thing that Kanye did for Dark Twisted Fantasy. You got a bunch of people to a remote location and got them all together. So I'm thinking that this Kanye is quiet right now too.
He is.
If he's quiet, that means he's busy. So I'm excited about Kanye.
He also did just have a child, so that could be it.
Of the ones that I mentioned, though, I think I'm most excited about the Drake album.
I don't know why you do this to yourself. You know what Drake is going to do. So you can set yourself up for failure.
God's plan.
I'm just saying.
God's plan.
Whatever. But I'm there for Drake, too.
I may switch that. I mean, it may be Kanye, Drake, and then Cardi B. But the Ray Shrimmer CD is going to be 3 discs. So
oh, my gosh.
I'm kind of excited about that.
Are you?
Ray Shrimmer hasn't put out a bad album yet.
Listen, I like Ray Shrimmer, but listen, y'all gonna get the Chris Brown effect. I'm not going to sit and listen.
Bro, I still haven't listened to all of that Chris Brown.
I'm not doing it. I'm just not. Who has time for that? No one.
Oh man.
So no, but I'm so excited for whatever Cardi B puts out. Let me not say so excited. I'm
marginally
excited for what Cardi B puts out.
I'm excited for the next single.
No, because I don't want to put that pressure on it because it's not going to be Bodak. You know what I mean? But I'm there to listen to what Cardi has to say. You know what I mean? Also, apparently she's pregnant, so there's that. That's a rumor that's going around. So, but she's supposed to be like performing at Coachella next month.
So I guess we'll see.
So we'll see. But I'm there for your new music, Cardi. Bring it on, boo boo.
So this Chris Brown and Lil Dicky song. So Lindsay played this song for me right before the podcast. And the premise of this song, it's called Freaky Friday. The premise of this song is Chris Brown and Lil Dicky have switched bodies, and they are singing as each other.
Yes.
So like Chris Brown is singing, but from Lil Dicky's point of view inside of Chris Brown. Pause.
Oh my God.
And you know what? I need more time.
You don't need more time. No, how you feel right now is exactly how you should feel about that stupid song.
It was hilarious. I was laughing at it, but then it's like, for me, it was like Lil Dicky was sitting around and he was saying, how can I get away with saying the N-word as a rap? I know. I'll say the N-word through Chris Brown as me. Like, that's the closest. Like, I don't know.
And he goes for it.
But I'm sure I haven't had a chance to look at any reactions for this song. I'm sure the Black Joy Police.
The only outrage that I heard about it was from Charlemagne, but Charlemagne was being facetious, and like he was like getting ahead of the Black Joy Police for coming
Charlamagne
for
does have a habit of galvanizing the Black Joy
it. You know
Police,
what he does.
but
But I think the video was hilarious. The song is hilarious. I actually saw Lil Dicky live, and I forgot that I saw Lil Dicky live until I saw this video, because I low-key forget about Lil Dicky. But I mean, it was funny, but I'm not gonna listen to the song like on a regular basis. I'm not gonna do it again.
But it was funny.
But
the thing that I love about Lil Dicky is that Lil Dicky raps really well.
yeah,
Like Lil Dicky is a really good rapper, but and he's funny. He's funny,
and he's actually really good live. Like, I stood out in the rain and in the sand. It was like a beach concert, and listened to Lil Dicky rap for 2 hours. So y'all should support Lil Dicky. I'm there for it.
That's what's up. But
It's fine. Have you listened to anything else that Lil Dicky has done?
yeah, I listened to. I mean, that Save That Cash song. He's got a song that he put out with Snoop Dogg where he was talking about trying to make it in the industry, I forget the name of that song. I'll tweet it out or something. It's really good.
Okay.
It is a really good song. But
I'm there for it.
speaking of music, it's about that time that we jump into our top 5. So our top 5 this podcast is our top 5 non-hip hop R&B soul albums since the year 2000. So these are albums that we really, really enjoy that are not hip hop, not R&B, not soul. Before we jump into the list, something that really jumped out to me is everything on my list, even though everything on my list, all 5 of these artists sound dramatically different, but they're all classified as rock. And it started to grind my gears a little bit because one of them is classified as indie rock, one is grunge rock, one is electro rock, one is pop rock, right? And what made me upset about that is, I mean, we're getting better in hip hop, but it just makes me mad sometimes that we don't want to allow hip hop as a culture to grow. It's like we hear a lot of the purists will say things like, you know, Lil Uzi Vert or Lil Pump, oh, that's not rap. But it's like, if Maroon 5 and Metallica are both rock,
Yeah.
Lil Pump and Kendrick Lamar can both be rap, right? Like, it's okay to have subgenres in your genre. Like, hip hop is the most popular form of music in the world.
Yeah.
It's going to grow. Let it grow. And don't let it grow by like backhanded compliments and saying, all right, you can have your own subgenre. We're going to call it mumble rap.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's just the thing, though. We've got to accept these, I guess, quote unquote, new forms of hip hop. You know what I mean? So like pop rock or indie rock, those are things that have been, I mean, I guess, accepted by that culture. So it's like you can have a Metallica and a Tegan and Sarah, or you can have a Metallica and a Maroon 5, like you said, and they can exist in their own space within the rock community.
Yeah.
But like to us, it's like you can't, well, if you put on a Lil Uzi Vert versus a Kendrick or a Drake, it's like they're considered less than. It's like, well, no, not necessarily. They're just in two different lanes.
Right.
But I think, I mean, is it time that we need? I don't know. But something has to change within the hip hop culture where we're like not denigrating those artists. And it's like, no, it's okay for them to do this music, because who's going to say that they haven't turned up to a Fetty Wap song? You know what I mean?
What we have to do is we have to accept that somebody doing something in a different lane does not take away, water down, or dilute something in the other lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like letting the younger generation do trap rap or whatever it is we're gonna call the rap that is mumble rap, that doesn't take away from lyricists. You still do your thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm ranting now. The list is top 5 non-hip hop R&B soul albums since the year 2000. You ready to jump into the list?
Yeah. I also had something to say real quick. I thought it was interesting when I was making my list, because all of my songs are within the 2000s range. I think it's crazy how music, I know in my life and probably yours, music plays such a huge role in our lives, and it represents different time periods of our lives. Like to the point where there are certain songs and certain albums that I can't listen to anymore because it represents a relationship or a thing that I went through back in the past. I think that's crazy. So when I look at my album, my album, when I look at my list and I look at these albums that I put on here, it's just, you can tell based on the time period and the year that they came out, what period of my life I was in. And I think that's interesting to look at. So I think some of you, like listeners, even you, Gilbert, like you should look at the music that you listened to when you were a kid and go back and listen to those lyrics and see, well, there's a reason why you were vibing to that.
Yeah.
Like listen to it now as an adult or listen to it now versus 5 years ago. And I think you'll be surprised at how much that music touches you now and how it's different than when you listened to it back then.
Facts.
I just thought that was cool.
No, that's a good point. Music is, I mean, I can't say it any better than you said it. Music marks times in your life. Like music is, it sounds corny, but music is the soundtrack to my life, right?
Aww.
So like different, when I hear So Far Gone, that makes me think about my senior year in college. You know,
Yep.
I can't separate those two things. And we'll actually, I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we get into the list. So do you have honorable mentions?
I've got a lot of honorable mentions, so I'm going to go through them quickly. This was a really hard list for me. Because like Gilbert said earlier, like a lot of times people don't get to see this side, but I love rock music and other genres besides hip hop and R&B. But I've got John Mayer, Heavier Things. I'm honorable mention. Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park, and that was hard to not put in my actual list, but that album has way too many heavy hitting classic rock songs. And
that's Numb,
and
Crawling.
crossing over Crawling and In the End, like what Chester Bennington and what's his name, Mike Shinoda did with Linkin Park. I mean, you can't, like, it was revolutionary. So Hybrid Theory is on there. There's a band called Say Anything that a lot of people don't know, that they're super, super eclectic, but they had this album called Is a Real Boy that was fantastic. And All We Know Is Falling by Paramore is on there, and I'll talk more about Paramore later. And then my last honorable mention, and this is hard to not put on the list, but From Under the Cork Tree by Fall Out Boy, that album is phenomenal, and every song on there is a hit. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, so I got some honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is from one of my favorite bands. It's a duo, really. Tegan and Sarah, The Con. It's a really, really good album. So my honorable mentions. There's a lady named Regina Spektor, whom I think makes really, really great music.
I forgot about Regina.
Her album Begin to Hope is an honorable mention. And if you guys have never heard of some of these people, because some of these people are kind of rare, I really recommend that you go check out some of these albums.
Yes.
It's pretty dope music. Another one on my honorable mention list is an album called The Reminder by a group called Feist. I love this album.
Is that the one with 1, 2, 3, 4?
No, that was on shucks. That was on the album before that.
Okay.
No, you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4 is on the Reminder. You're right. But I really like Feist. Feist is really groovy. That's the only way that I can describe Feist. It's almost like bossa nova with like a mix of something else.
Mix it. Go ahead. Okay.
But Linkin Park Hybrid Theory is also on my honorable mentions list.
That didn't make your list?
And then no, it didn't make my
thought it
list.
made your list.
One of my criteria for my list is that I can't skip more than one song on the album.
Fair, and I'm going to talk about that. That's relevant to mine as well.
Yeah, so if I skip more than one song on the album, even if I really, really enjoy the album, I bumped it into my honorable. Like Begin to Hope by Regina Spektor. Like there's some songs on that album that I really, really enjoy, but there are 3 or 4 songs on that album that I can do without. And then my last honorable mention is Jason Mraz's We Sing, We Dance, We Steal Things.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Mraz is dope. Don't judge me.
Jason Mraz is fire. Jason Mraz did a remix of It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. That's one of the best things ever. Also, I should have put him in my honorable mentions, but I didn't. But Mr. A through Z by Jason Mraz is also fantastic. All right, here we go. So my number 5, like Gilbert said, all of my songs, all of my albums, I can probably sing word for word every single song, line by line, continuously. My number 5 is Songs About Jane by Maroon 5.
Hey.
Thank you for that. That came out in 2002. Here's the thing about Maroon 5 that makes me mad. And it's okay. You're allowed to evolve with your music as a band. But Maroon 5 came out as like a rock band. Like a rock poppy band. I mean, I don't want to say poppy. But I feel like they're straight pop now. But I like that they had some actual, like, still heavy actual rock songs on this album. But I loved it. It was our introduction to Maroon 5 and Adam Levine and his voice and just their groove and their sound. Harder to Breathe is still one of my favorite songs of all time. Just that like that riff. Songs About Jane is everything. She Will Be Loved is on that album. This Love's on that album.
Yes.
Secret. Oh
Sunday
my god.
Morning.
Sunday Morning.
Get Out.
Literally all of the songs.
Sweetest Goodbye.
You made me want to sing them and I can't.
Okay.
Well, you just got the track list pulled up.
I do have the track list pulled up.
Trash. But yeah, Songs About Jane, fantastic. That's my number 5.
So one thing that you're gonna hear. Wait. Before I move on from your number 5, what's your favorite song on that album?
Either Harder to Breathe, or Sweetest Goodbye.
So if for some reason you've never heard Songs About Jane, check out one of those 2 songs and then see if you want to listen to the rest of the album.
Fair.
So one thing that that you're gonna hear me say a lot. You may or may not have heard me say this on the podcast, but I'm a writer, so I tend to see things through the vein of like lyrics. Lyrics are really, really important to me. So one common thread that you'll see on everything in my top 5 is that I'm going to say that I think that the writing on this album is spectacular, right? So I'm going to say that up front, and I'm going to try not to say it again. I just want you to assume that I believe that the writing is fantastic on every album that is on this list, right? So my number 5 is from a group that I already mentioned, Tegan and Sarah. They have an album called So Jealous.
So Jealous.
I really, really enjoy this album. I discovered Tegan and Sarah through Pandora. So this is when Pandora when I was in college, Pandora first came out. It first started getting popular, and I was studying. I had it on a Pandora station. I don't even remember what the station was, and I just heard these voices that were just like super unique, right? And it was the song that came on was "Where Does the Good Go," and it's like I was listening to the lyrics in the song, and their voices are haunting. Is the best way. You're gonna hear me say that a lot as well in my top 5, but and it's just the lyrics there was so much pain and introspection in the lyrics, but at the same time it was really, really pretty, and I was like, I have to know who this is, right? And so it was Where Does the Good Go was the song that stuck out to me on this album. But I really, really enjoy Tegan and Sarah's So Jealous. That is my number 5. Walking with the other standouts on this album: Walking with a Ghost, Fix You Up, I know, like all those songs are fantastic. So if you like, this is classified as indie rock, right? Something else I really liked about this album, then I'll move on. It's very acoustic in nature, right? It's not.
Yes.
It's very minimalistic in how in the production value or whatever. So that allows you to focus on the lyrics and what they're talking about. And kind of like what Lindsay said is like, think about what you were going through when you listen to whatever your favorite album is. And this album for me, it reminds me, is like, yeah, I was kind of like a little introspective, like emo kid when I was going through whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, my number 5, Tegan and Sarah, So Jealous.
I just remember Gilbert coming home from like a semester at college, walking into the door singing Tegan and Sarah, like this album at the top of his lungs, and I was so confused as to what they did to him at Baylor. But that moment changed me because I also love Tegan and Sarah. All right, so my number 4, it's a double album. Not really. It's 2 separate albums, but they released them in the same year on purpose, so they kind of consider it a double album. But it is by a band called System of a Down.
All right.
So this may seem random unless you like actually like know me, but I play guitar, and I am a huge fan of hard like guitar riffs and real good melodies with guitar. But System of a Down is a heavy metal band. And in 2005, they released an album called Mesmerize and then Hypnotize. Something about System of a Down that's fantastic that a lot of people, and growing up as a young kid, I think in 2005, I was in 8th grade, and I just heard like the heavy riffs and just kind of like the yelling in the songs, like the aggression, and I just was like, this is great for my angsty middle school soul. But a couple of weeks ago, like I went back and re-listened to what they were saying, and it's crazy how political politically charged and how relevant to the culture System of a Down was. And they weren't some insignificant band. Like they had, I think they were the first, not the first, but they were like one of 4 people that have had 2 #1 albums in the same year. It was like DMX and some other random people that had 2 #1 albums in the same year. System of a Down is there with you, DMX, boo boo. But they had some amazing songs on there. So like one of them was BYOB, which stood for Bring Your Own Bombs. That was like political commentary on George Bush and like the war that we went through in the early 2000s. Another song called Holy Mountains, which was literally referencing like the Armenian genocide, which is something that I didn't know about. Like I literally learned about through listening to System of a Down. But like heavy topics and things that you wouldn't otherwise hear in music that I learned and heard through listening to those 2 albums, and also like random stuff that was just like fun to listen to. But if you're into like great guitar melodies and kind of racy / heavy lyrical things, System of a Down is definitely where to go. But those are my number 4 albums.
I've never listened to System of a Down. I couldn't name a System of a Down song, but based on that description, I may go check them out myself.
They're fun. It's a fun time.
So my number 4 is something that my sister mentioned already. It is Fall Out Boy from Under the Cork Tree.
Yeah, it is.
I really, really love this album. First and foremost because of the writing on the album. Wentz is he's an amazing writer.
Go ahead, Pete.
He's extremely witty. This album is strangely poetic and aggressive at the same time. I love the song titles on this album. That kind of points to the wit. Like the very first song on the album is called "Our Lawyer Made Us Change the Name of This Song So We Wouldn't Get Sued." Fun fact: that song was originally named "My Name." That song was originally named "My Name is David Ruffin and These Are the Temptations." And Fall Out Boy's lawyers came to them and said, "David Ruffin is going to sue you.
Please change this."
They changed the name to "Our Lawyers Made Us Change the Name." But
Love it.
I love the lyrics on this album just because some of the lyrics are they're corny when you take them in like out of context, but like some of the lyrics they really, really get at what it feels like. Like this whole album deals with unrequited love, right? And it's like when they have lyrics like "I'm hopelessly hopeful that you're just hopeful enough," or "To the love I left my conscience pressed between the pages of the Bible in a drawer. What did it do for me anyway?" Like those lyrics, man, they're dope to me, man. And I don't know, this album really just it marks a time period for me. So most of my friends know that I primarily listen to hip hop, right? And I didn't really get into different types of music until I got to college. Funny story about this album. The only reason that I was exposed to this album is because my wife liked this album. And this was at a point in time in my life where I was not trying to mess with rock at all. She was like, "Hey, I like Fall Out Boy. Have you heard of them?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yes, of course I've heard of Fall Out Boy."
Lies.
And then I went back to my dorm room and I downloaded this album and I listened to it just so that I could talk to her about Fall Out Boy. Trash. So I started out pretending to like this album, and then I just really started to like this album. But there are a lot of lyrics on this album that are great to me. My least favorite song on this album is "Sugar We're Going Down." But the rest of this album is fantastic. "Sugar We're Going Down" has a hilariously petty lyric. That lyric, "I'm just a notch on your bedpost, but you're just a line in the song." Like stuff like that is hilarious to me because like he's confirmed that this is about a real person. Yeah. So like that is the pettiest line ever. But anyway, my number 4 is From Under the Cork Tree, Fall Out Boy.
Just to piggyback off of that, so that's that album. It was really hard for me to not put that in my top 5. That album was the first one that Pete Wentz actually did all of the writing himself. And I think that's important because like even though like "Sugar We're Going Down" may be a song that you don't like, your least favorite on that album, that song is a classic. And that song helped make, how would you, not punk rock, but I can't even think of the genre that I want to put this in, but that kind of helped. It is. I looked it up. All of these on Wikipedia. This is both punk and emo rock. So emo, like this album really helped start shaping the lane for emo-y rock like that to come out.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was really hard for me not to include this on my list because this album definitely had a huge influence in my life. Like XO is one of my favorite songs.
Mine too. And since you brought it up, the dynamic for creating this album is actually really interesting. So Patrick Stump composed all of the music, and Pete Wentz wrote all of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I read an interview where they were saying, so he would just do the music and I wouldn't be like, yo, I don't like that song. And I would just write the lyrics to the music that he made and it came out dope. So creative synergy is dope.
I love it, man.
What's your number 3?
All right. So my number 3, again, is an album that Gilbert has also mentioned, but he didn't put on his list like a fool. But my number 3 is The Con by Tegan and Sara. Love me some Tegan and Sara. I think they are fantastic. But this album is just great in every way, shape, and form. And Tegan and Sara just does an amazing job lyrically where, I don't know, I just feel like their lyrics capture these really weird emotions that you don't even know you're feeling or that are possible to feel. Yeah. And then they say something, it's like, oh my gosh, that hurts my heart.
Like she has a line that says, I wouldn't like me if I met me anyway. And it's like, no. It's like when I heard that line, I was like, yo, that's weird, but I kind of like, I feel you.
It's real.
That's legit.
That's 100%. One song that they have on there was Floor Plan, and Floor Plan, like, this sounds like a simple line, but it's not. But she's like, I want to draw you a floor plan of my head and heart. I want to give directions and helpful hints as what you'll be looking for. And like something simple like that. But it's like, hey, I'm complicated as a human being. So here, let me give you a little bit of help as to how to deal with me as an individual. And that just makes me laugh because like as a middle schooler, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is me. This is how I feel right now. But that song, The Con itself, is fantastic. I remember being 19 years old and singing the song 19 at the top of my lungs in my car as I drove down the street. But Tegan and Sara, The Con is just fantastic. And I think that sonically, the song just flows. And all of these albums that I mentioned already do this, but specifically these next 3 that I'm about to say, sonically, they just sound beautiful, like as a composition, like all of them work together, like it flows through. Like there's not a single song on The Con that I will skip. Like I will listen to it completely all the way through because it tells a story. And what's interesting is that Tegan and Sara went, was it like Canada? I don't know. But they went somewhere and like shut themselves away for however long it took to write this album. But they actually made videos and put a series up on YouTube. So if you are curious, there are like really cute little like short snippets of every single song from The Con on YouTube where they have videos of them making them, like writing them, recording them, and the creative process that went into making the songs. And I think that's really dope and like cool to see from an artist perspective. So
it is.
My number 3 is The Con by Tegan and Sara.
My number 3 is an album called Ceremonials by Florence and the Machine. I love this album. Again, one of the things that is a common thread for me is that the lyrics are fantastic on this album. They're very introspective, which tells you a little bit about me. But I just love Florence's voice.
Haunting.
Haunting is really the only way to describe her voice. But I like Florence and the Machine, specifically this album. Not so much Between Two Lungs, which is the album before this one. But this album I love for the opposite reason that I like Tegan and Sara. So I like So Jealous because it was really minimalistic. Mm-hmm. Florence takes this whimsical, ethereal, like, voice that she has, and then she juxtaposes it with this grand production, right? This album is like, this is the album with Spectrum and Shake It Out and Only a For a Night and Seven Devils, right? Like this
Dog Days on there?
Dog Days is not on this, and this was on the one before. But it's like there's these really big productions, and then there's this voice that's just kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's a sharp contrast, but it works.
It fills the space. Yeah,
like it just works, and I don't know, I love it. And like every song on this album, she makes you feel like you're a person in a crowd, like at a show of some sort. Like she has like songs that make you want to sing along. But anyway, I really love this album. Trying to think of really what the standout song was. I was gonna say Shake It Out. Shake it out. But I really like What the Water Gave Me. and Leave My Body as well.
You
So,
love Seven Devils. Stop playing games.
I do love Seven Devils. Seven Devils is a dope song. Seven Devils. I love the biblical reference there. But Florence and the Machine, Ceremonials, that's my number 3.
All right, so my number 2 is an album called A Fever You Can't Sweat Out
Hey.
by Panic at the Disco. My Lord, this ridiculous album. I love every single part of it. I can sing you every single lyric from every single song. I love it. But what's crazy about Panic at the Disco is that they were kind of put into the spotlight because Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy like heard their demos and kind of pushed them along. So there's a lot of Fallout similarities with Panic. Like I literally have a playlist on my Spotify that's Fallout Panic, that's what it's called, and I just put all of their music in it together. But this album, my Lord, it is absolutely fantastic. Most people know Panic from their I Write Sins Not Tragedy song, which is probably my least favorite song in that album. But I love, just like Fall Out Boy, but maybe even a little bit more, their lyrics are just ridiculous, and they'll say things that you probably shouldn't say, and their song titles are ridiculous. Like Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off. Like that's literally the title of one of their songs. But like when you listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Let Chris Brown name a song.
Oh, we're not talking about Chris right now. But I love me some Panic. I think they're ridiculous. But these songs are super punk emo-y. Definitely represent that teenage angsty stage, but they sustain, they carry through. And I think still as an adult, I love them. It's a fun, quick, and it's quick. I like that none of their songs are over 4 minutes on that album. Like they're quick, short, but sonically it works together, and you don't skip any songs. You go all the way through. I love it. But the last song of that album, Bill God and Then We'll Talk, is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. So yep, that's my number 2.
So my number 2 is Maroon 5's Songs About Jane.
Yeah, it is.
I love this album. Lindsay's already hit on a lot of this album, but one thing that I don't think she mentioned that I've mentioned about each of my songs is that the lyrics on this album are fantastic. Interesting fact about this CD is that this CD is actually about a woman that Adam Levine dated whose name is Jane.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fantastic. And he confirmed that every song on this album is indeed about their relationship. And that makes, for me, that just makes it so much greater. This has no part in why this is one of my favorite albums, but Rashida Jones is actually a featured background vocalist on 3 songs on this album.
I low-key hate Rashida Jones.
She is on Tangled, she is on Secret, and she is on Must Get Out, I believe. So that's interesting. My favorite song on this album is probably either Sunday Morning or Secret. I love this album because it comes out with Harder to Breathe. Sometimes I can live without Harder to Breathe, but I'll never skip it. I never skip any song on this album, right? It starts off with Harder to Breathe, then it goes to This Love, then it goes to Shiver. Then it hits She Will Be Loved. And after She Will Be Loved, this album just hits a groove.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's a good album for the first 4 songs, and then as soon as Will Be Loved ends and Tangled hits and it goes into The Sun, Must Get Out, Sunday Morning, Secret, it's like, whoa.
I forget about The Sun.
And again, it's just crazy like hearing these lyrics and knowing that it's about a real situation. So like on Must Get Out, when he's talking about him and Jane wanting to break up and he's like, this city's made us crazy, maybe we must get out. It's like knowing the history of the fact that Adam Levine moved to New York to write this album and he met this girl in New York. He's not from New York, he's from the West Coast, and he's like, yo, this city is making us crazy. Like knowing that that's about a real person and like that he was going through this emotion and he sat down and was able to pin that and make a beautiful song. Like, I don't know, that's dope to me. Again, lyrics are really, really important to me. So I know you already talked about Maroon 5, but I feel what you were just saying about like this album, after She Will Be Loved, like the first 3 songs, they feel like they're just songs that were written about a common thing, but songs 4 through 12 on this album are like a cohesive thing. You know what I mean? But that's my number 2. Go to your number one, girl. What you got? What you got?
So my number one, I've already mentioned them already, and I just didn't want to have multiple albums from them in my top five, which is why I had to kind of adjust my top five. But my number one album is by Paramore, and it is called Brand New Eyes. That is Paramore's third album, and it is also the last album that they wrote with the original members still intact. This is
You
with.
are.
Let's talk about that song. With the exception of one song, there's one song that is keeping this album from being probably my favorite album of all time. But I absolutely, positively love this album with my whole heart. And I know Gilbert will agree with this. Like, sonically, like, just the way in which this album is produced and how it sounds, it just flows so well. And I've only seen Paramore in concert once, and it was after they released this album, and to see them perform it live and to see how it flows and how everything works together, it's just phenomenal. But Hayley Williams, her writing, her lyrics, my lord, it adds a different layer to it when you realize how honest that she is in her music, and it makes this album even more touching, because a lot of these songs were about how the band was having inner turmoil and fighting with each other and not getting along, and kind of how they tried to pull through regardless of the animosity between each other. And I think it's interesting that they had made the decision to break up but kept touring regardless, and that kind of makes the album even more powerful. When you listen to it, it's like, oh snap, this is real. Like, the fact is, like, I can't believe we almost gave it up. They end up doing that, but they kind of had to push through to finish the album. I think it's crazy. Misguided Ghost is one of the prettiest songs, both lyrically and just musically, that I've ever heard in my life. I've tried to play it on the guitar multiple times and have failed miserably. But my favorite song on that album is called Turn It Off. And she's got this line where she says, I want to know what it'd be like to find perfection in my pride and to see nothing in the light. And I like Paramore because they had an interview once where they were asked if they were a Christian band, and they're like, no, we're not a Christian band. We're just a band full of Christians. And just me personally being a Christian, I think it's interesting to hear artists that allow their Christianity and their relationship with Christ and other things speak in their music without actually saying it like blatantly. I think that's a super creative skill that they have, and I love that you can hear their struggle with their religion, and you can hear their struggle in relationships through their music and their lyrics. It's just, everything about this album is fantastic to me, and I just love that it was the last Paramore album that I feel, I mean I feel bad for saying this, but like was truly Paramore. Like, it still had that rock element to it, but also the juxtaposition and the lyrics, just everything top to bottom perfect. Love it. So Brand New Eyes, Paramore, my number one.
Dope. I actually enjoy that album as well.
I know
it's not on my list, but I enjoy that album as well. Misguided Ghost is a beautifully written song. So my number one is an album by The Killers. It is called Hot Fuss. Some of these songs, like if I were allowed, or some of these albums that we've talked about, if I were allowed to include hip hop and R&B, they would not be in my top 5 list. Mm-hmm. This album, if we were doing my favorite albums of all time, am I ready to make that statement?
Go ahead and do it.
My top 5. It would be. I would have to think about it. I've never done my top 5 albums of all time. But what I'm trying to say is that
thinking about that makes my head hurt.
This song is cross genre. This album is cross genres for me. Like, this album to me is amazing. Like, the writing on this album is fantastic. Like, I love it when people are able to tell a story throughout an album, but that each song can still stand on its own. So much so with this album that it was years after this album came out that somebody on the internet was like, wait a minute, Andy is the same person throughout all of these songs. If you've never heard the conspiracy theory about the story behind this song, or behind the songs on this album, you should go Google it. But it's very interesting. But anyway, like, so this album is very, very it's very, very upbeat. Like, it's got like kind of a nightclubby almost feel. Like, you can tell they wanted you to dance to these songs, mm-hmm. and these songs sound really, really happy. Like, you got Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, Mr. Brightside, Somebody Told Me. Like, all of these songs are really upbeat and energetic, but they are all extremely dark. Like, this album has this undercurrent of like jealousy and rage and insecurity that is like, it's really, really vulnerable, but they do it in a way that's both witty and still engaging where you can enjoy the song. But I love this album. I don't really have much else to say about it. The Killer's Hot Fuss, that's my favorite non-hip-hop R&B soul album.
I almost strained my
2000s.
all of the vocal cords trying to sing Mr. Brightside at the top of my lungs one day. That song is hard to sing.
Yeah, have you ever paid attention to the lyrics of this song?
It's very inappropriate.
It's a ridiculous song. But I love it, man. But I thought that this was an interesting list, man. No, we went a little bit long today, but if you guys have never heard of some of this music, which I would venture there's probably one or two of these that you may not have heard of, just trust us, man. This is good stuff. So I encourage you to go check it out.
Be open to new genres of music and lyrics and other things. Expand your horizons.
Yeah, man, and let us know what your top 5 albums are that are not hip hop, R&B, or soul since the year 2000. So hit us up on Twitter at the EBS Podcast, or on Instagram at the EBS Podcast, or shoot us an email at theeducatedblack@gmail.com.
EBS.
Hey.
That is our podcast. We talk for a really long time, but it's okay, because the music is worth it. Yeah.
And go to audibletrial.com/EBS Podcast to support the podcast. This has been episode
We're about to
16.
read some books on the internet. Yeah.
We still don't have a theme song.
I mean, that's clearly it. It's fine.
See you guys in a fortnight.
Deuces.